Very good morning, dear students. National issues. In today's discussion, we'll be discussing another 10 topics related to national issues. Don't miss the earlier videos and try to have a complete grip over national issues, current affairs of 2020-21. And in this video, we'll be covering another 10 topics related to national issues. And that 10 topics are Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Bill 2021, amendments to the Juvenile Justice, Uttar Pradesh Prohibition of Unlawful Conversion of Religion Bill 2021, loss of learning during the pandemic, acute encephalitis syndrome in Muzaffarpur, Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3, Corruption Perception Index 2020, Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rule 2021, Andhra Pradesh Disha Bill 2020, District Medical Boards. So these are the 10 topics what we are going to discuss, that is District Medical Boards, Andhra Pradesh Disha Bill 2020, Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021, Corruption Perception Index 2020, Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3, acute encephalitis syndrome, loss of learning during the pandemic, Uttar Pradesh Prohibition of Unlawful Conversion of Religion Bill 2021, amendment to the Juvenile Justice, Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Bill 2021. Let's come to the first topic, that is Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Bill 2021. UPSC asked questions related to Arbitration and Conciliation Act and Bill before too. So what's the highlight of the bill? So it seeks to amend the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 so as to enable automatic stay onwards in certain cases, specified by regulation the qualification, experience and norms for accreditation of arbitrators. It seeks to ensure that stakeholders parties can seek an unconditional stay on enforcement of arbitral awards in case where the arbitration agreement or contract is induced by fraud or corruption. Also does away with the 8th schedule of the Act that contained the necessary qualification for accreditation of arbitrators, and added a provision in section 36 of the Arbitration Act and will come into effect respectively from October 23, 2015. As per this amendment, if the court is satisfied that a prima facie case is made out that the arbitration agreement or contract which is the basis of the award was induced or affected by fraud or corruption, it will stay the award unconditionally pending disposal of the challenge made to the award under section 34. So this was the discussion related to that. Now in economic times, the news came in this manner. Parliament passes Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Bill 2021. The Economics Times discussion is in this manner. Parliament on Wednesday approved a bill to amend arbitration law. On Wednesday, the Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Bill 2021 was passed through voice vote in Rajya Sabha. The bill was passed by Lok Sabha on February 12, 2021. This was the discussion. Now, the bill will replace an ordinance issued on November 4, 2020. The bill seeks to ensure that all stakeholders get an opportunity to seek unconditional stay on enforcement of arbitral award where the agreement or contract is induced by fraud or corruption. This was the same thing which I read before. Now you can make it very clear in your mind. The bill seeks to ensure that all stakeholders get an opportunity to seek unconditional stay. An unconditional stay on enforcement of arbitral award where the agreement or contract is induced by fraud or corruption. So that is related to the Parliament versus Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Bill 2021. The news came in Economics Times. Now the next topic is amendments to the Juvenile Justice. Now what is the amendment, or what are the amendment? Empower the DMs and the additional DMs to monitor the functioning, that is DM means district magistrate. Empower the district magistrate and the additional district magistrate to monitor the functioning of agencies responsible for implementing the Juvenile Justice Act. Empower the district magistrate to issue adoption orders as well as monitor the implementation of the law. The district child protection unit will function under the district magistrate. The district magistrate could also independently evaluate the functioning of the child welfare committee, special juvenile protection units, and registered childcare institutes. Before someone sets up a shelter home for children and sends their proposal for registration under the Juvenile Justice Act to the state, a district magistrate will have to assess their capacity and conduct a background check. So in newspaper it came in this manner. Lok Sabha passes amendment to Juvenile Justice Act. So Juvenile Justice Act as a GK should be very clear in your mind. At the same time, the current affair is Lok Sabha passes amendment to the Juvenile Justice Act. The Lok Sabha on Wednesday passed a bill to amend the Juvenile Justice Act with the aim of strengthening the provisions on protection and adoption of children. So Lok Sabha on Wednesday, so right from the newspaper, Lok Sabha on Wednesday passes a bill to amend the Juvenile Justice Act with the aim of strengthening the provision on protection and adoption of children. Women and Child Development Minister Srimati Irani said the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2021 addresses several concerns that are flagged by the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. So here NCPCR is again coming into relevance, that is National Commission for Protection for Child Rights, while examining the earlier version of the bill that was passed in 2015. So the bill of 2015 is in limelight. At the same time, now again Juvenile Justice Act is again into discussion. So here, what are the amendment? Empower the DM and the additional district magistrate to monitor the functioning of agencies responsible for the implementing of the Juvenile Justice Act. Empower the district magistrate to issue adoption orders as well as monitor the implementation of the law. The district child protection unit will function under the district magistrate. The district magistrate could also independently evaluate the functioning of the child welfare committee, special juvenile protection unit, and registered child care institutes. Before someone sets up a shelter home for children and sends a proposal for registration under the Juvenile Justice Act to the state, a district magistrate will have to assess their capacity and conduct a background check. Now the third topic, Uttar Pradesh Prohibition of Unlawful Conversion of Religion Bill 2021. Now what is the key provision of the bill or key provision of the act? It makes religious conversion for marriage a non-violable offence. The onus will be on the defendant to prove that conversion was not for marriage. The notice period to the district magistrate for the religious conversion is 2 months. In case of conversion done by a woman for the sole purpose of marriage, the marriage would be declared null and void. So these are the significant provision, that is, it makes religious conversion for marriage a non-violable offence. The onus will be on the defendant to prove that conversion was not for marriage. The notice period to the district magistrate for the religious conversion is 2 months. In case of conversion done by a woman for the sole purpose of marriage, the marriage would be declared null and void. Now, what are the penalties related to the discussion or related to the act? Violation of the prohibition of the law would invite a jail term of not less than 1 year, extendable to 5 years with a fine of 15,000 rupees. If a minor woman or a woman from a scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe communities was converted through the said unlawful means, the jail term would be a minimum of 3 years and could be extended to 10 years with a fine of 25,000 rupees. The bill also lays down strict action including cancellation of registration of social organization conducting mass conversions. So this is the 3 significant penalties you can see. The violation of the provision of the law would invite a jail term of not less than 1 year, extendable to 5 years within a fine of 15,000. If a minor woman or a woman from scheduled caste or scheduled tribe communities was converted through the said unlawful means, the jail term would be a minimum of 3 years and could be extended to 10 years with a fine of 25,000. The bill also lays down strict action including cancellation of registration of social organization conducting mass conversion. Now Uttar Pradesh Assembly passes bill on religious conversion amid din. The Hindu newspaper covered this discussion in this particular manner. It seeks to replace the ordinance promulgated in November last year that provides for imprisonment up to 10 years and a maximum fine of 50,000 for violators. Amid protests by the opposition, the Uttar Pradesh Legislative Assembly on Wednesday passed by voice vote a bill aimed at curbing religious conversion by fraudulent or any other undue means, including through marriage. This was a discussion came in a newspaper related to this act. Now, next one is laws of learning during the pandemic. It's a basic study from Ashif KP University, and as an aspirant, you can understand. Okay, this was a study done by Ashif KP University, and it was there in the discussion. At the same time, a lot of articles came in connection with the studies also. So, Ashif KP University conducted a field study to assess the impact of COVID-19 induced lockdown on students. Major finding: children missed out on the regular curricular learning they would have acquired had school remained open. They're also forgetting what they had learned in previous years. Over 92% of students from class 2 to 6 have lost at least one specific foundational ability in languages that they may have been acquired in previous years. So that is the one discussion, that is on 92% of students from class 2 to class 6 have lost at least one specific foundational ability in languages that they may have acquired in previous years. The corresponding figure for mathematics is 82%. Foundational abilities are those that form the basis of further learning. So that is basically foundational ability means are those that form the base for further learning. Some of the examples for foundational abilities including reading a paragraph with comprehension, addition, subtraction, all that is basically foundational abilities. So that is loss of learning during the pandemic. There was a study from the side of Ashif KP University, and they studied and they assessed the impact of COVID-19 induced lockdown on students. Next topic is acute encephalitis syndrome, especially in Muzaffarpur. Now, usually acute encephalitis syndrome, that is AES, locally called Chamki Bukhar, surfaces during summer in the flood-prone districts of North Bihar. Now, what is acute encephalitis syndrome? Acute encephalitis syndrome is a basket term used for referring to hospitals, children with clinical neurological manifestation that includes mental confusion, disorientation, convulsion, delirium, or coma. So, acute encephalitis syndrome is a basket term used for referring to hospitals, children with clinical neurological manifestation that includes mental confusion, disorientation, convulsion, delirium, or coma. Acute encephalitis syndrome is considered very complex disease as it can be caused by various agents including bacteria, fungi, virus, and many other agents. In India, acute encephalitis syndrome outbreak in North and Northeastern India have been linked to children eating unripe lychee fruit on empty stomach. So that was there in the news, acute encephalitis syndrome, how the outbreak as it happened. So here, acute encephalitis syndrome outbreak in North and Northeast India have been linked to children eating unripe lychee fruit on empty stomach. Unripe fruit containing the toxin hypoglycine A and methyl encyclopropyl glycine, that is MCPG, which cause vomiting if ingested in large quantities. So we can read MCPGS, methylene cyclopropyl glycine. So unripe fruit contain the toxin hypoglycine A and methylene cyclopropyl glycine, that is MCPG, which cause vomiting if ingested in large quantities. So UPSC can ask MCPG is in news related to what, or at the same time they can ask methylene cyclopropylene glycine is in discussion is what, or they can ask the contraindication related to methylene cyclopropylene glycine as a question. Now in Down to Earth magazine, there is a discussion. You can see that is first acute encephalitis syndrome case of the year suspected in Muzaffarpur hospital source. An awareness campaign for acute encephalitis syndrome was launched in the district. A child has been diagnosed with acute encephalitis syndrome the year's first at a hospital Bihar, Muzaffarpur on February 19, 2021. said a staff member of the pediatric ward who did not want to be named. Usually, acute encephalitis syndrome, locally called chamki bukar, surfaces during summer in the flood-prone districts of North Bihar. So this was the news came in down to earth, and the same discussion you can see related to acute encephalitis syndrome, what the disease is about and all. So here the discussion came in down to earth. UPSC always keep a very close attention with down to earth articles and all. And first acute encephalitis syndrome case of the year suspected in Muzaffarpur hospital source. That was the article, and the same discussion we had done. What is it? So acute encephalitis syndrome is a basket term. Once again, it's a basket term used for referring to hospital children with clinical neurological manifestation that includes mental confusion, disorientation, convulsion, delirium, or coma. Next is Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3. Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3 launched to expand immunization coverage across the country. We know what is Indradhanush 3. So this Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3 launched to expand immunization coverage across the country. The focus of Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3 will be on children and pregnant women who missed their vaccines doses during the COVID-19 pandemic. They will be identified and vaccinated during 2 rounds. So that is the focus of IMI, that is Intensified Mission Indradhanush. So the focus of Intensified Mission Indradhanush will be on children and pregnant women who missed their vaccines during, who missed their vaccine doses during the COVID-19 pandemic. They will be identified and vaccinated during 2 rounds as such. Now, Mission Indradhanush 3 will build on the gains of previous phases of the campaign and make lasting gains towards universal immunization. The present campaign will target achieving 90% full immunization coverage in all districts of the country and sustain the coverage through immunization system, strengthening and foster India's march towards sustainable development goal. Now, what is Mission Indradhanush from GK perspective? Government of India launched Mission Indradhanush in December 2014. It is to strengthen and re-energize and achieve full immunization coverage for all children and pregnant women at a rapid pace. So this is Mission Indradhanush. It is to strengthen and re-energize and achieve full immunization coverage for all children and pregnant women at a rapid pace. The ultimate goal is to ensure full immunization with all available vaccines for children up to 2 years of age and pregnant women. It provides vaccination against 12 vaccine preventable diseases. That is again from prelims perspective, that is diphtheria, whooping cough, tetanus, polio, tuberculosis, hepatitis B, meningitis and pneumonia, Haemophilus influenza type B infections, Japanese encephalitis, rotavirus vaccine, pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, and measles rubella. So it provides vaccination against 12 vaccine preventable diseases, that is diphtheria, whooping cough, tetanus, polio, tuberculosis, hepatitis B, meningitis and pneumonia, Haemophilus influenza type B infection, Japanese encephalitis, rotavirus vaccine, pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, and measles rubella. So vaccination against Japanese encephalitis and Haemophilus influenza type B is being provided in selected districts of the country. So that was the news, and on February 19, 2021, right from PIB you can see Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, that ministry gave a press release. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the news was in this manner: focus on universal immunization. Dr. Harsh Vardhan launches Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3. Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3 to be conducted in 2 rounds starting from February 2022 and March 2022 across 250 districts, urban areas identified in 29 states or UTs. That is another major heading. Let us resolve that no child and pregnant woman will be left unprotected against vaccine preventable diseases. That was the third heading under that particular press release. So, and the news was this: Dr. Harsh Vardhan, Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare, launched Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3 today. Sri Ashwini Kumar Chaubey, Ministry of State for Health and Family Welfare, and Sri Mangal Pandey, Health Minister Bihar, were also present during the occasion through video conference. The Union Minister also launches the Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3 portal and released the operational guidance for Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3 and the awareness material IEC package developed as a part of the campaign. So here the same discussion, so focus on universal immunization. IMI 3 to be conducted in 2 rounds starting from February 22 and March 2022 across 250 districts or urban areas identified in 29 states or union territories. That was the news right from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And it's very clear right from the news, the third heading, let us resolve that no child and pregnant woman will be left unprotected against vaccine preventable diseases. So the Mission Indradhanush and at the same time Intensified Mission Indradhanush 3 should be very clear. The objectives and the details related to the same should be very clear in your mind. Now the next discussion is Corruption Perception Index 2020. Corruption Perception Index 2020 is released by Transparency International. That itself is right from UPSC point of view is important, that Corruption Perception Index 2020 is released by Transparency International. It's a composite index. It is a composite index that draws from 12 surveys to rank nations around the globe. So what is Corruption Perception Index? It's a composite index that draws from 12 surveys to rank nations around the globe. It has become a benchmark gauge of perception of corruption and is used by analysts and investors. It ranks 180 countries and territories by their perceived level of public sector corruption according to experts and business people. So what is Corruption Perception Index? It ranks 180 countries and territories by their perceived level of public sector corruption according to experts and business people. It uses a scale 0 to 100 where 0 is highly corrupt and 100 is very clean. India slipped 6 places to 86th position this year. India's score is below the average score of the Asia Pacific region. 31 countries there in Asia Pacific and global average. So why it is there in the news? India slipped 6 places to 86th position this year. That was the discussion about, and it was there in the magazines and newspaper too. India's overall score is also 2 points less than that of China, which docked at 78th position. The list was topped by New Zealand and Denmark with 88 mark as such. Now, Economic Times, India falls to 86th rank in Corruption Perception Index 2020. The Economic Times news was in this manner. New Delhi, India's rank has slipped 6 places to 86 among 180 countries in Corruption Perception Index in 2020. For 2020, Transparency International Corruption Perception Index was released on Thursday. So that was it. And the index, which ranked 180 countries and territories by their perceived level of public sector corruption, according to experts and business people, uses a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 is highly corrupt and 100 is very clean. So that is the discussion about Corruption Perception Index. Try to have a clarity regarding the fundamentals, at the same time the corruption, at the same time the current affairs related to Corruption Perception Index. Now let's come to the next one, Information Technology. Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code, Rules 2021. So the news is, for the first time the government, under the ambit of the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code, Rules 2021, has brought in detailed guidelines for digital content on both digital media and over the top, that is OTT platform. Obviously, it's very, very important from UPSC's prelims point of view, at the same time in future mains point of view too. So for the first time, the government, under the ambit of the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code, Rules 2021, has brought in detailed guidelines for digital content on both digital media and over-the-top platforms. While all the rules have been framed and notified under existing Information Technology Act, the administrative powers for the regulation of OTT and digital news sharing platforms shall be under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Three-tier grievance redressal mechanism as such is there. That is the first level OTT provider. Here the grievance redressal will be at the level of each OTT provider. Each complaint will have to be addressed within 15 days. Once again, the first level OTT provider. Here the grievance redressal system will be at the level of each OTT provider. Each complaint will have to be addressed within 15 days. Second level, a self-regulatory body. If the complaint is not satisfactorily addressed, then the complaint can scale it up to a self-regulatory body collectively established by the OTT. And At the third tier, the government has occupied itself with overriding powers in the form of oversight mechanism. An interministerial committee will form this function, and it will largely have the same powers as the collective self-regulatory body of the OTT. So, Ministry of Electronics and IT, the news came on 25th February 2021, and there are nearby 9 major headings in that particular press release right from the Ministry of Electronics and IT. The first one was Government Notifies Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code, Rule 2021. Second one was Social Media Platforms welcome to do business in India, but they need to follow the Constitution and law of India. Third one, social media platform can certainly be used for asking questions and criticize. Fourth one, social media platforms have empowered ordinary users, but they need accountability against its misuse and abuse. Fifth one, the new rules empower ordinary users of social media, embodying a mechanism for redressal and timely resolution of their grievance. Sixth one, rules about digital media and OTT focus more on in-house and self-regulation mechanism, whereby a robust grievance redressal mechanism has been provided while upholding the journalistic and creative freedom. Next one, the proposed framework is progressive, liberal and contemporary. It seeks to address people's varied concerns while removing any misapprehension about curbing creativity and freedom of speech and expression. And the final one is the guidelines have been framed keeping in mind the difference between viewership in a theatre and a television as compared to watching it on internet. So in that particular press release, before starting the news or the press release, the ministry as such, the Ministry of Electronics and IT gave 9 major headings. I have read only that headings. So that in that 9 major headings of the PIB, you can understand what relevance what relevance the Ministry of Electronics and IT is keeping on this particular topic. That government notifies Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rule 2021. Next, social media platforms welcome to do business in India, but they need to follow the Constitution and law of India. Social media platform can certainly be used for asking questions and criticize. Social media platforms have empowered ordinary users, but they need accountability against its misuse and abuse. The new rules empower ordinary users of social media, embodying a mechanism for redressal and timely resolution of their grievance. Rules about digital media and OTT focus more on in-house and self-regulation mechanism, whereby a robust grievance redressal mechanism has been provided while upholding journalistic and creative freedom. The proposed framework is progressive, liberal and contemporaneous. It seeks to address people's valid concern while removing any misapprehension about curbing creativity and freedom of speech and expression. The guidelines have been framed keeping in mind the difference between viewership in a theatre and television as compared to watching it on internet. So this was the first paragraph of that press release. Amidst growing concerns around lack of transparency, accountability and right of users related to digital media, and after elaborate consultation with the public and stakeholders, the Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rule 2021 has been framed in exercise of powers under Section 87 Clause 2 of the Information Technology Act 2000 and in supersession of the earlier Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines Rules 2011. So it's very, very important. You should have absolute clarity in all this. Next one is Andhra Pradesh Disha Bill 2020. The Union Government informed the Lok Sabha that an inter-ministerial consultation for the Andhra Pradesh Disha Special Court for Specified Offence Against Women and Children Bill 2020 had been initiated. Bill paved the way for awarding death penalty for rape and gang rape and expediting verdicts in trial of such cases to 21 days. The features of the bill, it envisages the completion of investigation in 7 days and trial in 14 working days where there is an adequate conclusive evidence and reducing the total judgment time to 21 days from the existing 4 months. So once again, the feature of the bill, it envisages the completion of investigation in 7 days and trial in 14 working days where there is adequate conclusive evidence and reducing the total judgment time to 21 days from the existing 4 months. It prescribes life imprisonment for other sexual offences against children and includes Section 354F and 354G in IPC. In cases of harassment of women through social or digital media, the Act states 2 years imprisonment for the first conviction and 4 years for second and subsequent conviction. For this, a new section 354E will be added in IPC 1860. So these are the significant features of the bill. And as per the bill, the Andhra Pradesh government will establish, operate and maintain a register in electronic form to be called the Women Children Offenders Registry. This registry will be made public and will be available to law enforcement agencies too. The government will establish exclusive special court in each district to ensure speedy trial. The government will constitute special police team at the district level to be called District Special Police Team to be headed by DSP for investigation of offences related to women and children. And in newspaper it came, Andhra Pradesh Disha bill sent for interministerial consultation. So this was the news right from Hindu newspaper. Andhra Pradesh Disha bill sent for interministerial consultation. Bill pave the way for awarding death penalty for rape and gang rape and expediting verdict in trial of such cases to 21 days. The union government informed the Lok Sabha on Tuesday that an interministerial consultation for the Andhra Pradesh Disha Special Court for Specified Offences Against Women and Children Bill 2020 had been initiated and passed on the input. The bill would be processed further. So Disha bill is in news and the details of the bill and the significant portion of the bill should be very clear. And I have read what is the bill is about. And the final discussion is about district medical boards. The Supreme Court has asked the government to respond to a plea to constitute district medical boards with expert gynecologists and even pediatrician to help rape survivors. So what is district medical boards? What is the basic behind or the GK behind should be clear. At the same time, now district medical boards is in discussion because the Supreme Court has asked the government to respond to a plea to constitute district medical boards with expert gynecologists and even pediatricians to help rape survivors. The court also said that if a woman is raped and is pregnant, she must be told about her legal rights. This case highlighted the need for setting up medical boards in every district so that rape survivors could benefit from early medical interventions and not be forced to go through more trauma. There has been a strong push against the law which imposes severe restriction on the reproductive choice of a woman, her personal liberty and bodily autonomy. Several affected women, even rape survivors, have approached the apex court against the 1971 law, that is Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971. So again, because of this discussion, as an individual, as an UPSC aspirant, you should have clarity regarding the MTPA, that is Medical Termination Pregnancy Act 1971. Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Bill 2020 seek to extend the upper limit for permitting abortion from 20 weeks to 24 under special circumstances. We had a detailed discussion in connection with the same, that is Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Bill 2020 in our earlier videos. So watch it and make absolute clarity regarding the same. So that's the discussion about an Hindu newspaper. This was the news. Supreme Court asked government to respond on plea for district medical boards to help rape victims. Petitioners stresses need for such boards so that rape victim can benefit from early medical intervention. The Supreme Court on Friday asked the government to respond to a plea to constitute district medical boards with expert gynecologists and even pediatrician to help rape victims. A bench led by Chief Justice of India, Shardai Bobde, was hearing the case of a 14-year-old rape victim seeking an abortion. So it's a very serious discussion. Supreme Court asked government to respond on plea for district medical boards to help rape victims. So dear aspirants, that's all about the 10 topics of national, and watch the earlier topics, and with the next 7 topics we'll be completing our national discussion. So the entire 107 topics, try to watch and try to have absolute clarity in the entire national issues of 2020-21. Have a great reading, have a peaceful learning. Thank you.